Check out Navin Lalo streaming network for all your streaming needs. We provide multiple angles, video and photo slides, clean audio, recording a full live stream. Contact us at 335-0205. Remember the name, Navin Lalo Streaming Network, bringing real-time events to you.
ध्यानमूलं गुरोर्मूर्ति पूजामूलं गुरोपरं मन्त्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरु ओम श्री सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्री गणेशाय नमः। श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्री रामाय नमः। श्री कृष्णाय नमः। ओम नमो नारायणाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते रामचंद्राय। ओम नमो भगवते रुद्राय। ओम नमो हनुमते नमः। ओम नमश्चन्दिका। ओम दुंदुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री महालक्ष्म्यै नमः। ओम श्री माता पिता गुरुचरणकमलभ्यो नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय। ओम नमः शिवाय। श्री राम जय जय राम। श्री राम जय जय राम। श्री राम जय जय राम। वर्णानां रतसंगानां रसानां चन्द्रसामपि मंगलानां च करतारो वन्दे वाणी विनायको भवानी शंकरो वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वास्वरूपिणो याभ्यं विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्ध स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरो वन्दे बोधमयं नित्यं गुरुं शङ्कररूपिणं यमस्थितो हि वक्रोऽपि चन्द्रः सर्वत्र वन्द्यते सीतारामगुणग्राम पुण्यारण्यविहारिणो वन्दे विशुद्धविज्ञानो कवीश्वरकपीश्वरो उद्भव स्थितिसंहार कारिणीं क्लेशहारिणीं सर्वश्रेयस्करीं सीतां नतोऽहं रामवल्लभा यन्मायावशवर्ति विश्वमखिलं ब्रह्माणि देवासुरा यत्सद्भद्रमशैव भाति सकलं रज्जो यतारेर्ब्रह्मः यत्पादप्लवमेकमेव हि भवां घोरेशितिर्षावतां वन्देऽहं तमशेषकारणपरं रामाख्यमीशं हरिम् नानापुराणनिगमागमसम्मतं यद् रामायणे निगलितं गचितन्यतोऽपि स्वान्तसुखाय तुलसीरघुनाथगाथा भाषानिबन्धमतिमञ्जुलमातनोति 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 ॐ नमो रामचन्द्राय ॐ नमो रामचन्द्राय ॐ नमो रामचन्द्राय सियापति रामचंद्र की जय। Sit down, everyone. I see. Hello. Sit down, everybody. Besides, welcome to this evening's satsang, this evening's sandhya, bhajans, kirtan, pravachan, as discussed and requested by Sunilji from Ramcharitamanas. I like coming here because this entire place feels light, feels comfortable. Every time as opposed to the general disposition for coming to a house day after day in the first couple of days, and then month after month and all these things. This is not to diminish in any sense, in any way, what it is you're actually going through. It is not to distract or change from what the purpose of the satsang really is. But in some small way, I hope it comes across as just like a reassurance. We go to satsangs all the time. I go with sometimes musicians like these esteemed gentlemen. Sometimes I go, how do you say, Sara, which means by yourself, just you and the harmonium. Some people request that sort of satsang, no music, no singing, anything. And I go to different places, and sometimes you feel as though as soon as you sit, you wish you could leave. Honestly, the people's mannerisms, the way they look, the way they behave, their body language and everything else. And sometimes you look into a crowd and it's as though it's a problem to come to satsang. Some people look as though it's you know what I see, like when you build in a pressure, I literally can't wait for this thing to finish. But the couple times I've been here, and I literally mean the couple times I've been here, after 3 I have to say the few times. 1 is single, 2 is couple, and from 3 is a few go on. From after 4, 5 is many. So we'll see how it works out. The couple times I've been here, simply to discuss pravachan, God's word, and bhajans and all these things have been so, for me, relaxing, and have been really and truly a joy to share with you. So only today, Sunilji told me that it's the birthday, right? So we are celebrating what, 25 plus tax or 25 with experience? We go with that. I'm always 30 years. 30 years with experience. And every time they ask about the beard, my general story is, now we were painting over the balustas in front. And because they put the balustas so close, I was making sure I did a good job, and the paint just stick. This is oil paint. That's my excuse. Don't know how long this will last. I'm very happy to be here in satsang with you. So if it's okay with you, I want to sing one of my favorite bhajans. I'm not sure if you know it, but I'm sure you could join maybe in the chorus. The chorus is Jaya Lambodara Pahima. Jaya Lambodara, he with the huge stomach, like Shushti. Save me, Nija Amba Sutta, you who are the son, the darling son of Amba Devi. Jaya Shambho Sutta Pahimam, save me, O son of Shiva. Nija Gauri Sutta, another name for Devi Mata. Jaya Vikatanana, Nija Vidyadhara, he who is all knowledgeable, he who is afraid of nothing at all. Lord of dance, Natyadhara, the most wise there is, Jnanadhara, and it says Swami Sachidananda sings of your glory, of your greatness. Jaya Lambodara Pahima, Bhajantu Mahaganapati, before we go into Ramayan, Sumiran, and everything else. Nij Amba Sutta Rakshama, Nij Amba Sutta Rakshama, Jaya Lambodara Pahima, Jaya Lambodara Pahima, Nij Amba Sutta Rakshama, Nij Amba Sutta Rakshama, Jaya Lambodara Pahima. Jaya Shambho Sutta Pahima, Jaya Shambho Sutta, Jaya Shambho Sutta Pahima, Nij Gauri Sutta Rakshama, Nij Gauri Sutta Rakshama, Jaya Vikatanana Pahima, Jaya Vikatanana Pahima, Nij Vidyadhara Rakshama, Nij Vidyadhara Rakshama, Jaya Lambodara Pahima, जय लंबोदर पाहि मां। जय नाट्यधर पाहि मां। जय नाट्यधर, जय नाट्यधर पाहि मां। निज ज्ञान धर रक्ष मां। निज ज्ञान धर रक्ष मां। भज सच्चिदानंद पाहि भज सच्चिदानंद, सच्चिदानंद। भज सच्चिदानंद पाहि मां। भज नित्यानंद रक्ष मां। भज नित्यानंद रक्ष मां। जय लंबोदर पाहि मां। जय लंबोदर पाहि मां। निज अम्बसुत रक्ष मां। निज अम्बसुत रक्ष मां। जय लंबोदर, जय लंबोदर पाहि मां। जय लंबोदर, जय लंबोदर, जय लंबोदर पाहि मां। महागणपति स्वामी की जय। Simple chant to Sadguru. This is a song, it's called the Guru Arati, where it equates or makes the Guru equal to Lord Shiva himself. I've heard this song many years ago from Pandit Ramesh Tiwari at Edinburgh Hindu Temple. Whenever my Guruji, Sadguru San Keshavadas, whenever he would walk into the temple for yagyas, this is a song they would sing when we all stand up to welcome him. It was a song from the Bharat Sevashram sung, and in, I think it's Trinidad here, it's called Trinidad Sevashram sung. Guru Shiva, Guru Shiva, Guru Shiva, Guru Shiva. Kar Jaya Guru, Kar Jaya Shiva, Om Jaya Guru, Kar Jaya Shiva. Om Jaya Guru, Kar Jaya Shiva. Om Jaya Guru, Kar Jaya Shiva. Guru Om Shiva Om Guru Om Shiva Om Guru Om Shiva Om Guru Om Shiva Om Era Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam. Kar Jaya Guru Kar Jaya Shiva Om Jaya Guru Kar Jaya Shiva Om Guru Shiva Sadguru Maharaj ki Jai. Ramayan Katha is that which saved Sanatan Dharma through the diaspora. Were it not for Ramayan, we'd have no Hinduism in Trinidad or Guyana, Suriname, Canada, Jamaica. Were it not for Ramayan, before the books could have been brought across from Gita Press and all others, Ramayan was kept in the hearts and minds of our ancestors. They knew Ramayan by heart, and they would have told each other this on the boat coming. They would have told each other the katha, the stories of Maryada Purushottam, Ramchandra Bhagavan, Sita Devi, Lakshman Bhaiya, and the immortal Hanuman Swami. When they would sit in the first couple of years and wonder what it is they got themselves into, the stories of Ramayan, Ramcharitmanas, Rama's Leela, is what kept them going. For if it is that when God would walk on earth and suffer just like mankind would, and have to walk savannas and plains and rocky mountains and try to cross an ocean without the help of any human being, with just monkeys and bears, to face at that time the most formidable of all the demons that could exist. And not just any demon, he who had the blessing of the sustainer of the entire universe, Lord Shiva Shankara himself. Because Mahavishnu, Sriman Narayana, when he lies down on the coiled serpent couch of Sheshnag, in his mind, on his lips, is the eternal mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. It is said that when Shiva Shankar Bhagwan sits on the crystal rock in the middle of Kailash Parvat, in his mind, on his lips, from every pore of his being, emanates the words Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. Then how it is that if Shiva and Vishnu are one, how it is that the embodiment of Mahavishnu, Ramachandra, who walks on earth, how could he make a march towards the kingdom of Sri Lanka and kill the greatest devotee of Lord Shiva Shankara himself? How could that be possible? Because for the ultimate sin of him taking away the wife of Ramachandra by force, Sita Devi did not leave Rama's side on her own free will. Rama was very much alive when she was kidnapped. Sita Harana Kiya Ravanave. For that transgression between kingdoms, between morals and values, and plain out decency, even Lord Shiva himself knew that he could not save his favorite devotee, his favorite servant, even he took a step back and allowed the walking embodiment of Mahavishnu, Ramachandra, to go forth and slay Ravan. For whatever it is anyone can face in this lifetime, if Rama could be victorious in all these things in the face of so many troubles, then who am I and who are you? They would tell each other in the barracks in the cane fields that we can more than overcome whatever transgressions we are facing so far away from our homeland of Bharat Desh, to India. This is how Ramayan, being told from the heart, from the mind, in the language of the people, Bhasha Nibandhamati Manjula Matanoti, has been able to foster devotion and bhakti. This is why we have Hinduism till this day. Bow your heads, close your eyes as we chant Ramayan Sumiran. Siyapati Ramachandra ki Jai. जहि सुमिरत सिद्धि हो, गणनायक करि बड़ बड़न, करहु अनुग्रह सो, बुद्धि राशि शुभ गुण सदन, मुख होई वाचाल, बंधु हृदय गिरिवर गहन, जासु कृपा सुदयाल, द्रवहु सकल कलिमल दहन, नील सरोवरहु श्याम, तरुण अरुण बारिज नयन, करो सो मम उरधाम, सदा क्षीर सागर शयन, कुंदेन्दु समदे, उमारमन करुणायन, चाहि दीन परनेरा, करो कृपा मरधनमयन, बंदा गुरु परकांज, कृपा सिंधु नर रूप हरि, महामोह तम भूंज, जासु वचन रविकर निकर, जासु वचन रविकर निकर, जासु वचन रविकर निकर। सियापति रामचंद्र की जय। Lanka. Last time I was here, we did Lakshman Gita, and I told you that there are 3 Gitas in the Ramayan. So if I come some other time, we'll do the 3rd one. This is the 2nd. There are 3 Gitas in the Ramayan. One is Lakshman Gita, one is Vibhishan Gita, and the 3rd is Ram Gita. Vibhishan Gita is a little tricky because Gita is supposed to be when that person spoke. But in Vibhishan Gita, all he did was ask a question. And Ramchandra was explaining to him. So I'm not sure how this falls in the category of being called Vibhishan Gita. This should be called Ram Gita 1. And then it should be down to the end. The actual Ram Gita is when, after the battle and everything, and they all came back to Ayodhya, and he was sitting, and Ram Rajya was in place, which is the kingdom and the ruling of Rama. One day he discussed with everybody. He said, "Everybody, come sit down, listen. Let me tell you something. And if you agree, you could listen. If you don't agree, you could do what you want." And it is said this is how democracy was based on. and I can't remember the king's name, who declared as a king in the Indian history, in the heritage. He's the first person that said, not King Ashok, somebody else, first person that said, every 5 years, I will come and ask you, are you pleased with my ruling? If not, we will choose somebody else. And the people could choose. I have to find it. But it's an Indian king who did that. The second Gita, Seecharan, is known as Vibhishan Gita. And the battle of Lanka had already started, and demons were already fallen to the side and all these things. And after some time it says that Ravan himself entered the battlefield. 289 tells. दूधिसी जय जयकार करी हो रामा निज निज चोरे जानी भीर पीर इत राम होत ओ रामा रावण ही बखानी सिया पति रामचंद्र जी की जय शरणम नाथ मम संकट हरि हरो. Demons fell left and right on the battlefield. Ramachandra and Lakshman Bhaiya, together with Angad, Hanuman, Sugriva, Nal, Nil, Jambavan, everybody was killing demons all over. All the great ones fell up until Kumbhakarna himself fell. After him there is only Ravan. It says Ravanu Rati Bhirata Raghubira. Ravan Rati Bhirate Raghubira Dekhi Vibhishan Bhayo Adhira Adhika Priti Man Bhasan Deha Bhandi Charan Kah Sahita Saneha. Sing. Sri Ram Jai Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Sri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Sri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Sri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. सियापति रामचंद्र की जय. नाथ न रतु नहीं थन पद त्राना केही विधि जितब बिरन बलवाना सुनहु सखा. Vibhishan is telling now, he's speaking in a light tone, because before, remember, when he had left in Sundarkand, when he had went to advise Ravan and he was kicked out, he came immediately after to the camp of Ramchandra and he was accepted. Now he considers Rama a friend. What's your mic? You need the breeze? Okay. He considers Ramachandra a friend, so he's advising now. He says that on seeing Ravan mounted on a chariot and Raghunatha Chandra on foot, having no chariot to challenge him, Vibhishan was worried. His heart fell. His thoughts clouded his mind. Out of love, out of extreme affection for the Lord, and still with the doubt that he had in his mind, he bowed to Ramchandra and said in soft tones, "My Lord, you have no chariot for your protection, either for your body or for your feet." Remember, The war is already being waged. There are many arrows on the ground, spears, axes, all different sharp instruments. Sitaram. All different dangerous weapons on the ground. How then can you expect to conquer this great warrior? Sunahu sakha kaha kripa nidhana. Listen, my friend, said the all-merciful Rama. Jai jaya hoy so shamdanu ana. The chariot which leads someone to victory is of another kind.
सौरज धीरज तेहि रक्त चाका सत्य शील दृढ़ ध्वजा पताका बल विवेक दम परहित घोरे क्षमा कृपा समता रजु जोरे ईस भजनु सारथी सुजाना बिरति चर्म संतोष कृपाना भान परसु बुद्धि शक्ति प्रचंडा पर विज्ञान कथिना कोदंडा सिंह श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम सीता राम सीता राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम सीता राम अमलय चल मन त्रौन समाना सम जम नियम सिली मुकिनाना कवच अवेद विप्र गुर पूजा एहि सम विंजय उपायन दूजा सखा धर्मय अस रथा जाके जीतन कहु न तत्व रिपुता के श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम सीता राम सीता राम सीता रामचंद्र भगवान की जय।
My friend, the chariot which brings victory is of another kind. It says, strength and fortitude are the wheels of that chariot, while truthfulness and good conduct are the flags on the four corners. Strength, discretion, self-control, benevolence, being kind. These are the four horses Valor and fortitude are the two wheels of the chariot, while truthfulness and good conduct are the flags in front, on top. Strength, discretion, self-control, and absolute kindness are the four horses that pull the chariot forward. And they are attached to the chariot, these four horses, with the cords of the ropes of forgiveness, compassion, and having a steady, even mind. Worshipping God is the skilled charioteer who holds these four ropes to the horses. Dispassion is the shield, and contentment is his spear. Charity is the axe, and reason is the lance that he has as weapons. And the greatest wisdom is his unbreakable bow. A pure and steady mind is the quiver, which is the case, the carrying case for the arrows. And these arrows are quietude, which is knowing when to be silent, restraint, which is keeping all things under control, and all religious observances. Being dutifully respectable to the Brahmins and sages and all these things, and to one's own guru, is what is called the buckler. The buckler is that which ties the horses securely to the chariot, which also holds the seat that the charioteer sits on. And there is no other way to ensure victory than this. Vibhishan is being told now, he, my friend, who rides upon such a chariot of righteousness has no enemy to conquer anywhere. You see why I tell you it should be Ram Gita 1? All Vibhishan did was ask a question, and everything else Ramchandra Bhagwan is saying. Listen, my friend, he who owns such a chariot as this is a hero and can vanquish even that mighty and invincible foe, which is birth and death, the round of rebirth, what you call samsara. Puranapi maranam, puranapi jaranam. We will always come and go and come and go and keep creating karma if we don't know when and how to put an end to the karma. We will come and go needlessly without improving, like the water that touches the shore, the beach. The water comes and goes and comes and goes. There's a type of fish, a little shellfish that burrows in the sand. When the water comes, it pulls some of the sand away and it dives down even further, trying to find the water that soaks into the sand, not knowing if it rises up, it could be carried away into the ocean where there's so much more water. When the water comes on the beach, on the seashore, and it recedes, that little shellfish is thinking the water is drying up. So the little shellfish burrows down into the sand where it thinks there's more water, because water runs off the surface there. Not knowing if it would rise up instead, the wave that is receding will carry it out into the ocean. It'll have water forever. Our mind is like that little fish, little shellfish. Our mind is like the warrior in the chariot. Thing is, our wheels are broken. We've not brought any weapons. We can't even hoist the flag. None of these things, because we are unprepared. Hearing Ramchandra speak like this, Vibhishan held on to his feet and cried, "You have taken this occasion to teach me a lesson of supreme wisdom, O Rama, O storehouse of absolute grace." I don't need to go any further, actually. We need to go backwards to when he started. How many of us can honestly say that we have even the flags, much less the wheels of this chariot, truthfulness and good conduct? How many of us? Simple things that we ought to be reminded. And when I say it here, you can shake your head. Yes, Pundit. Making sense, David. And then after I leave, we go back to regular behavior. Even probably me too, you never know. I may just see this here, I may just do this and mark time till, oh, it's 8 o'clock. Look at that. Half an hour again. I just run off verses just to make sure we finish. And then even I too may just go back to regular behavior. Whatever that is. What good does it do any of us? The scripture here is a handbook, is a guide. And just like the regulations, when you go to get your license, you have it there. Some people, some dishonest people don't even need the regulations, but they have license. And these are the same ones that said license don't drive. When they find themselves on the back of a wrecker or something, their excuse is the license don't drive. When the police pull them up. Do I need to remind you of this because you already know? The very fact that you can shake your head for every sentence I mention here means you already know this. None of this is alien to you. None of this is new to you. None of this is a teaching, it's a reminder. None. At no point are you hearing this for the first time. You should be virtuous, you should be strong of mind, you should be truthful, you should be have self-control, be kind, forgiveness, compassion, and having a stable mind. We know all these things. Think of it. You can be how truthful in what you do. If you don't have a balanced mind, one of the horses is having a balanced mind. If you don't have a balanced mind, then even in trying to make a truthful decision, will fail. Think of this. The horses for the chariot need to be under control. The horses can't all pull in 4 different directions. It'll pull the chariot apart. Not so? So what are these 4 horses? Forgiveness, compassion, evenness of mind. Okay, so it's 3 horses? Okay, sorry, 3 horses. For a second I was thinking Bhagavan Krishna's chariot. 3 horses. Forgiveness, compassion, evenness of mind. Balla Viveka Dhamma Paritakoriya. 3 horses need to pull the chariot on which we all are supposed to exist. Forgiveness, compassion, and evenness of mind. For example, someone of your family who you consider very highly, you and them fall out. Not expecting anything to happen, you go about your merry way. And they now have been harboring in their mind a whole bunch of hate and a whole bunch of anger and stress. And for some reason, somehow they wish to take this out on you. You don't know. And you're there just minding your business one day, and they show up by your house and they properly well beat you. Now you have to decide. You're going to fight back? Maybe not. You have to decide when they leave, after you get up and shake out yourself and everything. You check and see your girl boss head, your girl scrape, your clothes boss up. What are we doing? Go and report your family? Next thing, the one day you report them and they call the case in court, that's the day that Express, Newsday and Guardian by the courthouse, that day doing nothing, just waiting for to see what happened, and bam, your whole family in front page, all 3 newspapers. What does it take if someone does use something, anything? They could rob you, they could embarrass you, they could do anything. What does it take for you to not react? Think. What does it take for you to not react? Now, it could bother you, that's okay. But not reacting, not jumping in your vehicle and go and follow them now and want to run them off the road. Or hire somebody to take them out. Or go and get some, what do you call it? When you full petrol and everything. Not Chanabam Navin. Flambeau. Chanavos. That tells that you. This is an outright expression of guilt that you were a very wicked boy. See now, after all these years, now it's coming out. Chanavos. Siyapati Ramachandra ki jai. Flambeau Navin, Flambeau. What would it take for you to go and full some flambeau and pelt in your house and run? They just beat you up. You're still alive. What if you burn the house down and they die? Who's worse? If the horse can't pull the chariot, then of what use is the chariot? If it will stay there in the middle of the battle and be bombarded by weapons or burnt down. First of all, calm your mind. The war that we have to win is not just a war against the demons, it is a war in this life itself. Every day you build a fortress. Every day you build your own castle. Every day you fortify and strengthen this castle. Rama is not just here as a prince, he was a warrior. It says, Bara Bigyana Katina Kodanda. Kodanda. Just a couple days ago we sang Kodanda Rama Apahi. It's another bhajan by my immortal Sadguru. Says the bow that is known as Kodanda is carried by this warrior, Rama. Rama knows when he has to be a prince, when he has to be a brother, when he has to be a king, and when he has to be a fighter. He knows. But do we know when we have to change our outlook, change our role, change our situation? Do we know? Sometimes some of us want to fight all the time, every day. We don't even know when to calm down. You know, in these wars that they had, Ramayan and Mahabharata, all these things, you know, when sun set, the war would stop. They didn't fight day and night like how the US want to fight in Afghanistan and Iraq and these things. All day, all night. Ukraine and Russia and these people. When it was sunrise, they blow the conch, the shell, they start to fight. When sun go down, say, alright fellas, hold up there. And they go and they have food and they rest and all these things. The enemies could walk in each other's camps and go and sit down and talk to them boys. Hey, where you get them arrows from? Who sharpened your axe? You can sharpen mine? Knowing fully well this is the same axe that may cut you down tomorrow. Imagine you sharpening the enemy axe in your camp. When it's sunrise, alright fellas, line up on that side. Let me take you out now. Do we know when to fight, when not to fight? Rama has the bow all the time in his hand. Kodandarama. It says, Kodandarama Pahi Kodandarama. Please save me. Pattabhirama Pahi Pattabhirama. He who is always calm but knows when to act, and this is the idea of the Katha. Rama was in his place watching all the time. He knew when to come into the battlefield, when Ravan himself came there. He had no purpose before that, because no other warrior or demon was worth his level. When Ravan himself came out, then he decided, I will also join the battle. He who is Dasharat Sutta, Kausalya Sutta Vibhu, Sita Rama. He who is Janaki Priyakara, he is the darling of Sita, the darling of Dasharat, darling of Kausalya, but yet he knows when he has to stand up and fight. This third verse says, Ravanana Shakaraja Rama. Knowing when he had to make true his promise of being the avatar, he became Ravanashak, the warrior. He was also at the same time Vibhishana Palak. He was rough and destructive to Ravan because he was a demon, but he was also kind and gentle to Vibhishan. One person being both sides at the same time. He who is Hanumad Vandita, Sita Rama, he who is worshipped by Hanuman. Sheshashayana Hari Raja Rama, he who is always looked after by Lord Sheshnag. If Mahavishnu walking on the earth is Rama, then the great snake that he sleeps on in the Kshirosagar with the 1,000 heads, known as Sheshnag, Ananta, Adishesha, he is none other than Lakshman, who is walking beside him and protecting him all the time. In the next avatar, he is Balram. This beautiful bhajan I wish to sing for you. May Kodandarama, the protector of the universe, come to your aid, not just in the road, show up with bow and arrow and all these things. May he be able to be in your heart and mind and guide you when to be strong, when to be gentle, when to be kind, when to fight, when to hush, when to speak, all these things. Definitely you don't know this song. So if you're not playing Manjira and Danta, clap. Trust me, it'll sound a whole lot better. It kind of works that way. I sing, you clap. Deal? Okay. I can threaten them. You can do that? You can do that? Okay. So if you don't clap, I have Shishi support. Nobody gets any food. Even though you all got invited by the family, because I have Shishti here, right? If you see on his right sleeve, you see Serve and Inspire. That's part of the Serve All initiative. Not serve all, serve all. Everybody, initiative. When we go satsangs and yagyas and people have extra food, we take all and carry it for vagrants and homeless and all these people, those who don't have. And even besides that, when they don't get food, they cook. So if ever you all have anything extra, just call Shrishti and send it to him. Actually, I have 4-seater for you. Take it. Ever so often, people give to them, and every single night, without fail, for all the homeless in Port of Spain, Chagonas and San Fernando, they cook food and just share. Serve all initiative. So sometimes I threaten people, like I'm threatening you. I'm sure all of you have food in your house. So if you don't get food from satsang, we'll take it and carry it for the homeless. Guarantee they do have. So if you all don't clap and build a vibration, then we'll seize the food. Okay? Hi, birthday boy. We could seize the cake too. Okay, you keep the cake, we'll carry the food. Siyapati Ramachandra ki. Aapadam pahartaro Dataram sarvasamparam Lokabhiramam Sri Ramam Oyo namamyam Oyo namamyam Kodandarama pahi Kodandarama Kodandarama pahi Kodandarama Batabi Rama pahi Batabi Rama Batabi Rama pahi Batabi Rama Kodandarama pahi Kodandarama दशरथ सुत प्रभु राजा रामा दशरथ सुत प्रभु राजा रामा कौसल्य सुत विभु सीता रामा कौसल्य सुत विभु सीता रामा जानकी प्रिय कर राजा रामा जानकी प्रिय कर राजा रामा ध्यान गोचरण सीता रामा ध्यान गोचरण सीता रामा कोदंड रामा पाहि कोदंड रामा कोदंड रामा पाहि कोदंड रामा पताबी रामा पाहि पताबी रामा पताबी रामा पाहि
श्यामल शरीर राजा रामा, श्यामल शरीर राजा रामा, कामितात प्रद सीतारामा, कामितात प्रद सीतारामा, इन कुल तिलकने राजा रामा, इन कुल तिलकने राजा रामा, घन महिमान्मय सीतारामा, घन महिमान्मय सीतारामा, कोदंड रामा पाहि कोदंड रामा, बताबी रामा पाहि बताबी रामा। रावण नाशक, रावण नाशक राजा रामा, रावण नाशक राजा रामा, विभीषण पालक सीतारामा, विभीषण पालक सीतारामा, हनुमद वंदित राजा रामा, हनुमद वंदित राजा रामा, मन कुलोट मने सीतारामा, मन कुलोट मने सीतारामा, कोदंड रामा पाहि कोदंड रामा, कोदंड रामा पाहि कोदंड रामा, बताबी रामा पाहि बताबी रामा, बताबी रामा पाहि। राम सुत्रामणे रामा, श्री रामा, राम सुत्रामणे राक्षस भीमा, राम सुत्रामणे, राम सुत्रामणे राक्षस भीमा, हे रामा, राम सुत्रामणे राक्षस भीमा, राम सुत्रामणे राक्षस भीमा, राम निसीमन रविकुल सोमा, राम निसीमन रविकुल सोमा, शेष शयन हरि राजा रामा, शेष शयन हरि राजा रामा, दास की शवनुत सीतारामा, दास की शवनुत सीतारामा, कोदंड रामा पाहि कोदंड रामा, कोदंड रामा पाहि कोदंड रामा, बताबी रामा पाहि बताबी रामा, बताबी रामा पाहि बताबी रामा, बताबी रामा पाहि बताबी रामा पाहि बताबी रामा पाहि बताबी रामा। सियापति रामचंद्र प्रभु की जय। See, Rama is the quintessential example of how to have this balanced mentality. He knew exactly when to enter the war. We do not. We are more like Lakshman. We're ready to fight every day. And also fight everybody. Not knowing which battle we will lose until we lose the battle. Not every fight is to fight. Some fights are to walk away from. They may call you coward, as them. They may call you soft. Good. They may call you all sorts of names. Take all, put it in a bag, tie it, and put it by the road. Because night time comes and you will sleep, no matter what they say. Because all they say they want to say about you, none of them will do it for you. You know, like these kids in school, you're taking that from me. But they're not jumping to fight for you, you know. They're encouraging you to fight. Not at all they're jumping in for you. Because when everything starts to go wrong, they are the first to run away. Rama stood and waited until the time was right to enter into the battle. And when he did, every arrow found their mark. When he entered the fight done. Ravan sent Pulastya, Akampan, Meghnad, Sahasrabahu, all the great ones. Even his own father he sent to fight. His grandfather he sent to fight. His grandfather is Pulastya, one of the great 7 sages who were born from the mind of Lord Brahma. Ravan was no ordinary person. Great grandson of Brahma himself. And watch what happened to him. He who tried to lift the entire Kailash Parvat, and when Lord Shiva squeezed him, he began to bawl. His name was Dashanan before, you know, he had 10 heads, Dashanan. Only when he tried to lift the Mount Kailash, and Lord Shiva Shankar pressed his big toe in the snow like this, and squeezed the shoulders of Ravan when he bawled, when he roared. Lord Shiva said, "Oh, you could bawl." To scream like that is called Rava. Rava. So that's why he got the name. He's the screamer. He's the baller. Ravan, he who screamed. And for 1,000 years he was chanting. Kishora Chandra Shekhara. He composed the Shiv Tandav Stotram by taking one of his heads that was cut off. He took that, he put that in one side. One of his arms that was cut off, he took off one of his arms, he connected that to the head and pulled it straight up. And he took the veins from his body and the small muscles, the sinews, and those became the strings. It's called Ravan Hatta, very first sitar. Head, arm, and from the hair, he tied the sinews, the muscle strands, and pulled it down to the head, and he played that. Because he couldn't move, remember? He had the whole weight of Kailash on his shoulders, he couldn't move from there. Shiv Tandav Stotra he composed in 1,000 years' time. Look now. Not even Lord Shiva could save him, because why? Narayan, Narayan, Narayan is coming. The one person that Lord Shiva would just back away from, Sriman Narayan himself has come. But in what mood? By knowing that not even the chariot on which Ravan is flying high can save him. Not even the arrows in his quiver can save him. Because Ramachandra moves forward with truth, righteousness, forgiveness. He could have pushed Vibhishan away when he came for help. But he said to Sugriva and all Angad and everybody else, I will accept everybody who comes to me with a clean, open heart. And he accepted the Rakshas, the demon, a man who is born in the Rakshas race. He accepted Vibhishan in his camp. And look how later on in Katha, you know from Ramlila, it is Vibhishan who tells him, Prabhu, in the navel, in the belly button has the Amrit, the nectar. If he didn't make Vibhishan to a friend before the battle started, and how he'd have gotten the secret, Vibhishan would never be on his side. That war would go on forever because he was immortal, Ravan. We need such a friendship in this life. So for your birthday, I wish and I hope and I pray that, and for all of your birthdays that come up, but when yours come, we'll wish it for you. But for today is his. I wish that on your birthday, today, that may God himself enter into your heart and in your mind and guide all your decisions. 1. May God protect you from all directions, front, back, sides, everything. May God and his attendants walk in front of you and clear your pathway ahead. And may God direct the deities to ensure that your pockets never run dry, that your home is always protected, and wherever you go, you always come back home safely. God, who speaks to all of the humanity in the 700 verses in 2 3/4 hours of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, every time we offer the Gita in the Shraddh, they say that the Gita is the most complete offering. You could offer food, tharya, lota, greens, this, that, the next, jersey, dhoti, merino, all kind. If you don't put the Gita, everything doesn't count. Why? Bhagavad Gita is the symbol of all of God's instructions. It is said that the Vedas contain all of God's directives. From that, man, check time for food now. We're now talking about all that. Now talking about all that. You give me a question? Yeah, question. Seecharan, right. So, the Vedas are written like parables, like little, nursery rhymes. Difficult to understand. So the sages and saints, they took the Vedas and put them into the Upanishads. Even that was a little bit difficult still. That is how we have the Upangas and the Shastras and all these different things. And then, just giving statement after statement, do good, be good, do beat nobody, do rob nobody. People thought that was a little too vague, so they had to put it into examples. God said, I will come myself and show the examples. So we had Matchavatar, Kurma Avatar, Varaha Avatar, Vaman Avatar. Who's next? No, I missed one. Matchavatar, Kurma Avatar, Varaha Avatar, Narasimha Avatar, Vaman Avatar, Parashuram, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, and just now coming is Kalki. God said, I will come myself and I will show. I'll put the declaration of the words of the books of the scriptures into practice. I will show myself. This is how we have the Leela. Out of all of them, the two favorites, it seems, are the Mahabharata and Ramayan. From the Mahabharata, God chose a few parts of it, a short part. They said, you know what? After all this action, in the middle of all this action, let me just give him a little teaching. And he just pulls 700 verses out of the thousands of the Mahabharata and said, listen, let's sit down quiet, hush, and just let me just tell you something. Let me just teach you something. Take this and go with it. And he started, Dharmakshetra Kurukshetra Samaveta Yudsavaha Pandavaschaiva Mama Kim Kurvata Sanjaya. And he went on from there. Bhagavad Gita. In the midst of all the fight, this, that, the next, came the teaching. Ramayan is the same thing. Ever so often, the action stops and we get Gita. We get teaching. Someone took the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita and by walking along the banks of the Ganga, him and his friends, and by him I mean Shankaracharya and 12 of his disciples, walking along the banks of the Ganga, they saw an old man, and speaking to him, they mentioned one teaching after the next, and one piece of advice they gave the man. That was all composed and put into one discussion known as Bhaja Govindam. Another saint, Ramana Maharshi, whose teachings were put into a text known as Upadesh Sar. And then there's other discussions like Tulsidasa's Vinay Patrika and all these things. So these are where the books come from. But amongst all these, the only one that was spoken by God himself is Bhagavad Gita. That is why in the offerings of the Shraddh, of any puja to Bhagwan Krishna, it is said, in the same way that God spoke these words, in the same way he spoke these words that are the instructions for mankind. Gita is none other than the Upanishads, which is none other than the Vedas. Sarvo Upanishado Gavo Dogda Gopal Nandana. This is part of the Gita Dhyanam, the opening verses. Gita is a condensed version of the Upanishads, which is a summary of the Vedas. So chanting Gita, you're chanting all the creme de la creme, like the sari in the milk. This is like the condensed milk of the Vedas. The Vedas is milk, Bhagavad Gita is Nestle condensed milk in a tin. And Bhaja Govindam is like condensed milk with honey, even more sweet. Offering the Gita is you saying, God, in the same way your words are the instructions for all of us, please instruct the angels of the heavens by your word, by this symbol of your word, to allow and ensure whatever they would need, that they are given. Offering the Gita is offering God's word. Nobody can go against God's word. So God now will say that you've offered this. Okay, my command, like my favorite verse, chapter 18 verse 65, Man mana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru mame vaisati satyam de patigyani prayosimi. Do every single thing as an act towards me. After some time, you'll become accustomed doing like this, and I will become accustomed receiving your efforts, and in the end you shall come straight to me and to me alone. Like if you find a stray dog, every morning you give him food, every morning, you will get accustomed giving the dog food. The dog will get accustomed getting the food. Even pigeons in the yard, after all they come in like your pets. Doing God's duty will become part of you. You will become accustomed doing it, and God will become accustomed receiving that action from you. It's a two-way thing, symbiotic. After some time, you will come straight to me. God promises. Same way God's commands are in the Gita. God, I'm asking you, command the heavens, command the afterlife. Tell Yamraj and the boys, whatever she need, sort she out. We think she would need clothes, so we give clothes in the Sita. We think she'll want an umbrella if rain fall, or if the ground hot slippers to wear, or if she's tired, she want to lie down pillow and mattress. And how much thing you get you have? A whole full works. Place dark, you share lamp. You give him a lamp with picture lamp and everything. You still give them things? I have. What did we get this set up with the storm? It was Friday? No, what it was here? The storm changed your mind. Tuesday. Yeah? I went in my Sita stocks. Yeah, I have stocks. And I know till I have forced that to get man for the food program. Yeah. So when I get Sita, I take out one thing. Like from the bag, I take out one thing, get upstairs, and the rest is go. Because I mean, how much aloo we go cook? We go spoil. How much garlic and onion, whatever. I mean, and we will any flour. So we just take one thing from it, and I send the rest either to the children's home, the Kuva children's home. There's one in Chickland, there's one in Presal, and then when I have surplus, Shushi's guide. It always. But I got 4 today from a bandara, so I give him one. I see him one time, give him it. Sort it out. We think that they would need certain things, so we gift these things in their name. Like I always say, giving a gift, giving food, giving everything in the bandara is like a coin. It's like a deposit in their spiritual account. Wherever that soul has to travel, their identity is like their visa card. No matter which world, which realm they go to, their personal identity, the soul's identity, is like a visa card. You could put how much offerings you want. Every time you chant God's name, it's like a spiritual deposit in their spiritual bank. So wherever they have to go, over the 11.5 months, it's 16 cities she has to travel. Wherever she has to go, whatever she would have in the bank, whenever she has to make a withdrawal, she just say, I am so and so. Because the mantra in the bandhara says, Admuka Gotrasya, Amuka Pretasya. On behalf of so and so who has passed on, we're making this offering: coins, food, sweet rice, flowers, clothes, this, that, the next. Everything goes to her, goes to her, goes to her. People say, how you could offer things to the dead? No. The spiritual offering. So now wherever she goes, like a visa card, if you go anywhere in the world, swipe. And We have many specialist shoppers here. Not like me and you. Them so. And she would know what I'm talking about. He has no idea. Just take the card and wherever the soul has to travel, we hope, we pray. By offering the Gita, may God's word be the command to the heavens. Give her what she needs on these children's behalf. Boliye Sri Siyapati Ramachandra ki. This is why Ramachandra Prabhu here paused just for a few moments just to tell Vibhishan this wonderful teaching. And now, look how, just 1, 2, 4 chopais, we ain't gone nowhere. 1 doha, second doha, we ain't gone nowhere. See how much there's still to be discussed, because we've not even gone into the weapons. What your weapon should be. All these things are simply guidelines for all of us. So on today, this birthday of yours, buddy, hope and pray that may God guide you in all that you have to do. May you be protected and wherever you go, and may you all be happy. Happiness, prosperity, and not just peace, but peace of mind. Always. Vrindavan Bihadilal Ki. Sing the chorus, I'll sing the verse. Right? One second. Find the correct version. Stick it. I know most of it. It says that in the middle of creation, Bhagwan Krishna stands and waits for all his devotees, all his children to return to him. How do you know it is him? Because he has Makara Kundala Dhari, Bhakta Bandhu Shauri, Muktidata Shaktidata, Vittala Narahari. Dark curly hair, dhoti around his waist, and he has a Makara Kundala Dhari. He has fish-shaped earrings. Some say crocodile. Makara is crocodile actually. Crocodile-shaped earrings. That's how you know Bhagwan Krishna is the one waiting for you at the gate of heaven. And bhajan says, Makara Kundala Dhari, Bhakta Bandhu Shauri, Mukti Data Shakti Data Vittala Narahari. Mukti Data Shakti Data Vittala Narahari. Ram Krishna Hari Mukund Murari. Ram Krishna Hari Mukund Murari. Panduranga 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 Hari. Panduranga 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 Hari. Ram Krishna Hari Mukunda Murari. Ram Krishna Hari Mukunda Murari. Panduranga 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 Hari. Panduranga Panduranga. Makara Kundala Dhari, Bhakta Bandhu Shauri. Makara Kundala Dhari, Bhakta Bandhu Shauri. Mukti Data Shakti Data Vittala Narahari. Mukti Data Shakti Data Vittala Narahari. Jai Ram Krishna Hari Mukunda Murari. Ram Krishna Hari Mukunda Murari. Panduranga 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 Hari. Panduranga Panduranga. बंधु कृपा सिंधु श्री हरि दीन बंधु कृपा सिंधु दीन बंधु कृपा सिंधु श्री हरि पावंगा हरे कृपांग वासुदेव हरे पावंगा हरे कृपांग वासुदेव हरि जय राम कृष्ण हरे मुकुंद मुरारी राम कृष्ण हरे मुकुंद मुरारी पांडुरंग 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 हरे पांडुरंग पांडुरंग तुलसी हार कंधरा पंढरीनाथ शुभदा तुलसी हार कंधरा पंढरीनाथ शुभदा अंडज वहान कृष्ण अंडज वहान कृष्ण पांडुरंग हरे राम कृष्ण हरे मुकुंद मुरारी राम कृष्ण हरे मुकुंद मुरारी पांडुरंग 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 ज्ञानदेव संसुत नामदेव कीर्तित ज्ञानदेव संसुत You see, this last verse says ज्ञानदेव संसुत नामदेव कीर्तित. In Maharashtra, there was this little boy and girl, Gyanadev and his sister Janabai. Very, very poor, and they were never allowed to go into the temple. They would sit under a tree and sing God's name. They were so loved by God Himself that sitting on the ground under a tree opposite the temple, it says that when they would sing, Namadev and his sister would play the Majira, Janabai. When they would sing, the Murti of Bhagwan Krishna would disappear from the temple, and in the dust, in the ground in front of them, you would see small baby footprints appearing in the sand. You would smell the scent of sandalwood powder, and all the animals would come around to see this wonderful Leela. Gyanadev samsuta Namadev kirtita Gyanadev samsuta Namadev kirtita. They weren't allowed to sing God's name in a temple, but they made God leave the temple to come and listen to them sing. It says when they would finish and Gyanadev would sing and say Vrindavan Bihadilal ki Jai, the Murti would reappear in the temple. And sometimes, depending on how much times Gopal, Keshava, Madhava, Achyuta, Janardana, according to how many times he would spin around and around, sometimes the peacock feather would fall from his hair and float down on the ground and be there in the dust. And the priest would have to come and ask Janardev's permission to take back the peacock feather and go stick it in the crown of the Murti in the temple. Gyanadev, Janabai, my Guruji sings, had so much love for God that God reciprocated that love. Gyanadev samsuta Namadev kirtita Tukaram pujita Dasa Keshava sannuta Tukaram pujita Dasa Keshava sannuta Rama Krishna Hare Mukunda Murari Ram Krishna Hare Mukunda Murari Panduranga 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 Hare Panduranga Panduranga. संस्था नामदेव कीर्तिता ज्ञानदेव संस्था नामदेव कीर्तिता तुकाराम पूजित दास केशव सन्नुत तुकाराम पूजित दास केशव सन्नुत राम कृष्ण हरे मुकुंद मुरारे राम कृष्ण हरे मुकुंद मुरारे पांडुरंग 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 हरे पांडुरंग पांडुरंग everyone sing पांडुरंग 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 विठ्ठल भगवान की जय वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की There is nothing greater than God's word. And in all of God's sayings in Bhagavad Gita it says Yara yara hi ramasya. You know this verse which says for God so loved the world. Finish it. You know this verse? Different books say it different ways. For God so loved the world. No. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutam adharmasya taratmanam sri jamyam paritranaya sadhu for the protection of the sadhus vinashchaya cha dushkritam for the protection of everybody dharma sansthapanarthaya shambhavami yuge yuge. The original verse is for God so loved the world he came himself again and again, which is evidenced in Matsya Avatara, Kurma Avatara, Raha Avatara, Narasimha Avatara, Vamana Avatara, Parasuram, Rama, Krishna, Buddhi, and we have one yet to come. For God so loved the world, he came again and again and again. Send the body, he come and he'll come again. Why? Because Praman was mentioned has to be fulfilled. Because God will come again and again, it also gives proof to the verse of chapter 2, verse 11. Gata suncha gata sunishta nano so chanti pandita. The wise ones know that even when God goes, he will come back, which is same thing for all souls. No matter when or how, he will always return. Souls will come back, different body, different family. Sometimes if you're lucky, same family. But the souls always come back. It is cyclic. Therefore exists the promise of God himself to ensure that the continuation of the cycles of birth and death would ensure that you get a chance after chance after chance after opportunity, opportunity after opportunity to keep on doing as much good as you can for as many people as you can for as long as you can. And until we purge the soul from each birth again and again by doing as much good as we can, we will become closer and closer and closer to God until we are so purified by so much good deeds we have no reason to return here on earth, and thereafter we remain in the heavens with our mother, father, God for good. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki. Okay, I'll see you next month or some month after that. Now we do Hanuman Swami Chalisa. श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि वर्णो रघुबर विमल जसु जो दायक बलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहो मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार हरहु कलेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीश तिहुँ लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कांचन वरन विराज सुरेशा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केशा हाथ वज्र ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे गो आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लगन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर रसि पुर लाए रघुपति कीनी बहुत बराए तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई। सहस बदन तुम्हरो जस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे संकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीषा नारद शारद सहित अहिषा यम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कहि गोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीना राम मिलाय राज पर दीना। तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना युग सहस्र योजन पर भानु नियोताहि मधुर पल जानु प्रभु मोद्रिका मिली मुख माही जल दिलांगे गए अज रजनाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे देते। राम द्वारे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिन बैसारे सब सुगल है तुम्हारी शरणा तुम रक्षक काहो को डरना। आपन तेज संहारो आपे, तीनों लोक हाथ देखा पे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासै रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा। संगत ते हनुमान चुरावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों युग प्रताप तुम्हारा, बरसे जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नव निधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को भावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघु पर पुर जाए, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चेतन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई। कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो शत बार पाठ कर कोई, जो तहि बंद महासुख होई। जो यहाँ पर हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साकी गौरी सा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महादेरा। की जय नाथ हृदय महादेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप सिया। पति रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान स्वामी की जय। बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। You so accustomed saying Siyapati Ramachandra ki jai before I say Hanuman Swami ki jai. You know how come? You know, there's a rule in Chalisa, in Ramayan. There's a rule. When I was growing up and we was doing, learning to read Ramayan and that kind of thing, Ken Macbean by Pundit. Those days, him and all the stars would have the Ramayan, 2 and 3, 4 Ramayan. So I had a smaller one to this. Sit on one side in the corner. Well, I mean, you're frightened because you don't know when they could tell you, here, hold the mic and sing a chaupai or sing a doha or something. So sit on me. And most times we just get it like the last doha. So it's me, Pandit Rishi, again, Guru, Mohib, Rishi from Perseverance, a few of us. We're learning to read Ramayan, and then we're just waiting to see who can call today. And once upon a time, I got the Doha to read, and this is me singing. And I just finished the Doha. And if I didn't raise up my head like this, because I was watching the Ramayan, if I didn't raise up in time, I'd have like a whole Ramayan in my face. Or some bhajan book he had. I just went whoosh in front of me. I said, that's not how you read Doha. Doha has to be read in a certain way where you Hridaya basaho surabhu pasyapati Ramachandra ki jai sharanam. You have to put that jai card in the end. And if you're not doing the actual, if you're not doing something and your hands free, sorry, you have to put your hands together. Syapati Ramachandra ki jai. You have to. And then I asked why it is Ram before Hanuman. Because everything he did was an act of service to Rama. So he's called Ramadasa. Anything you do for Hanuman and you don't call Sri Rama's name, you don't waste your time. So when you do puja for him and you offer prasad, you have to say Sri Ram Arpan. Offer it to Ram Chandra first, and then say Hanuman Arpan. If you simply say Hanuman Arpan, no matter how much truth leaf you put as well, he wouldn't take it. You remember when he got the mala and he was biting the mala and looking for Sri Ram in the mala, and then he didn't see Sri Ram Chandra in any of the beads, and he just threw it away, this expensive mala. And the king said, "You looking for Ram in the mala? Ram in you or what?" And then, Ji Rakichati Boli Apane, and he burst open his chest, and everybody saw Sri Rama and Sita Devi in his heart. Another katha goes that one king took a hair from his wrist, put it to his ear, and he heard Rama 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 Rama. Itihas, Chepa Katha, where it says that the devotion of Hanuman is so great that every living breath he would take is filled with Rama Rama Rama. This is why it's been so ingrained. Before we even say Hanuman Swami Ki Jai, this is his whole Chalisa, 40 verses out to him. But you have to say first, Syapati Ramachandra Ki Jai, and then you say Hanuman Swami Ki Jai. Otherwise, it's not even accepted. Therefore, now you know why. It comes like second nature. We're so accustomed, now you know why. So with this, again, happy birthday. And all the best for a whole one more year, right? Next year will be 31. Imagine that. A whole year again of happiness and prosperity and all these good things. Okay, so thank you very much for having me here today on this wonderful evening of satsang. Thank you to the team. It's not just two of them, it's everybody here, because all you playing percussion and all these things. And then my good friend Navin, who's doing the live stream. Right. I was thinking in my mind how long I know you, Trying to figure out 2000 and something, that's when it wasn't Millennium Stars. It was now figuring out the orchestra. I met him a couple of times doing music and all these things. I'm so happy that I could be amongst good souls like yourselves. This is satsang, being amongst good people. Sat, truth, sang, togetherness. Thank you for having me here, and whenever I can be available again, I will more than accept the invitation to join with you. No matter what time you come, doesn't matter. I may go back. I know I was here. Like how Ravi was panicking. He called me 1 minute after 7 waiting. I said, why no? I'm not leaving home. This time, Sanjay already got the harmonia, man. So I hold the phone on speaker. I guess over up answering phone, like I so hate to put phone in my ears. My default setting on my phone is speaker. So I just Ravi Prasad. G. So watch. Say, boy, I know leaving house and I know I'll come over half an hour. I say, tell him now I'll come in just now. He say, if you hear your voice drop, he say, if you hear the man, he said, oh, you're not leaving home? Yeah. I said, well, just tell him now, come in half an hour. He said, alright. And before he could say anything, I hang up on him. By the time he could tell, yeah, I come in late, Ramayan come in the house, Organ come in the house, everything. Sorry, yeah? Right. Okay, good.
So, again, God's blessings to all of you, and may you have the strength and the fortitude to continue doing what you have to. I know that time will not erase anything in particular, but it, on the contrary, somehow it strengthens you, knowing that we will all meet again, knowing that God is looking down on all of us, knowing that she's in a better place and she's closer to the finishing the journey, and for her to be at the feet of Bhagwan Krishna himself. So with this being said, let us now join in the closing.
Karcharanakhitam va kayajam karmajam va Sravananayana va manasam vaparanam Vihitam avihitam va sarvametacchamasva Jai Jai Karunamde Sri Mahadeva Shambho Jai Jai Karunamde Sri Mahadeva Shambho Jai Jai Karunamde Sri Mahadeva Shambho Kayena vacha manasindriva Udyatmanava prikati svabhava Karomi yadyat sakalam parasme Narayanayeti samarpayami Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva Tvameva bandhu shasaka tvameva Tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva Tvameva sarvam mama deva devam Tvameva sarvam mama deva devam Govindam Gokulanandam Gopalam Gopivallabham Govardhano dharam devam Tvam vande Gomati priyam Tvam vande Tvam vande Gomati priyam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Asato ma sangamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityur ma amritam gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hare Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Hare Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu सियापति रामचंद्र की जय पवनपुत्र हनुमान स्वामी की वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की सद्गुरु महाराज की सत्य सनातन धर्म की सद्गुरु की दंडवत जय जय
Navin Lalu Streaming Network for live streaming of any event featuring multiple camera angles, clean audio, video and photo slides. For information call 335-0205. Navin Lalu Streaming Network, bringing real-time events